For my Unit 5 article summary presentation, I chose an article called Accommodating Islam in the Workplace. Now, for full disclosure, I'm an HR director for a church, and for the past 20 years, I've worked in Christian ministry in one way or another. I chose this article because obviously Muslims are a hot button in the United States right now. And I've done some study over the years on Islam and was just wondering how the tenets of their faith could come into conflict with the workforce. And the authors have done a great job of laying that out and helping us understand the religion a little bit better. So the authors state that 84% of Americans affiliate with some religion, and 78% of those identify with the Christian religion. And so obviously there's quite a few other faiths represented in the American workforce, but they are the minority. There's 1.62 billion Muslims in the world, or 23% of the world's population. And 2.75 million of those Muslims live here in the United States. Now, the authors say that Muslims in the United States are statistically less likely to win a judgment of religious discrimination in the courts. And so obviously the issue of discriminating in the workforce against Muslims is an issue here in the United States. The Civil Rights Act prohibits discrimination on the basis of religion and requires companies to accommodate beliefs unless it creates an undue hardship on that organization. So in order to receive a religious accommodation, there must be a legitimate religious belief. An employer must be aware of the need for an accommodation, and employers must be able to accommodate that belief without creating undue hardship on the organization. And an undue hardship really is defined by the company should not have to increase anything more than a minimal cost, incur anything more than a minimal increase in cost to accommodate the religious need. So the authors state that there are certain aspects of the Muslim faith that may impact the workforce and that HR directors need to be aware of, and they may necessitate an accommodation, or there may not be able to be an accommodation. But understanding the faith is important in order to deal with these requests in a fair as well as a legal way. And so they outline some of the tenets of the Muslim faith. And some of those that may have impact on the workforce are dietary restrictions. And so this would impact a company if they offer meals to employees. And an employer would have to accommodate the dietary restrictions for the Muslim faith if they can provide those meals without a significantly increased cost to the organization. Alcohol consumption, Muslims are not only are they not allowed to consume alcohol, but they can't be in a place where alcohol is consumed. So if there's an organizational function, employers would need to be aware of this, and alcohol would not be able to be served because this would not allow those employees to participate in that function. Women are encouraged to wear hijabs, headdresses, and dress modestly. And a lot of times this means loose, flowing clothing. And so you may be in a situation where maybe it's a production line, and this would create a safety issue. And this would not be able to be accommodated because it would create an undue hardship on the organization because of the safety issue. Men are encouraged to wear beards, and in most places this wouldn't create a problem, except in areas of food service or jobs that require something on the face that requires an airtight seal. And so this would need to be paid attention to. Muslims are required to pray 5 times a day. Most of the time, this should be able to be accommodated because they can work around the breaks that employers are legally required to give employees who work a certain amount of time. Holidays are also important to Muslims. They have certain religious holidays, and as long as there's fair notice and employees use their vacation time, this should not create an undue hardship on the organization in order to provide this religious accommodation. So these are just some of the issues, and there's others. But again, the point is we need to be aware of these, and where it's reasonable and able, provide the accommodation that's necessary. Religious discrimination in the United States has risen 223% since 1997. So understanding the basic tenets of Islam is important in order to treat each employee with dignity and respect. And the authors say that management must create a culture of acceptance and understanding not only of the Islamic faith, but of all religious beliefs. And they say that as we do this, this will create a productive and motivated workplace, which will increase a company's reputation as well as their profitability. And I agree with that. The research on employee engagement would bear that out and to be true. But personally, I think it's important for another reason. As a Christian, I believe that God created all men and women, and that they're created in His image, and therefore we should even though we may have some different beliefs and we may disagree on those things, we should treat each of God's people with love and care and respect. And that's just a personal belief of mine, and I think that is required for ethical leadership as well. So irrespective of whether it creates greater profitability, it's just the right thing to do, to be respectful and kind of people's religious beliefs in the workplace.